Hello, I'm Philip Brunelle, Artistic Director and founder of Vocal Essence and organist choirmaster at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis. Well, it's an anniversary today because it was 1 year ago that I began this series of musical moments featuring Dominic Argento, the noted Minnesota international composer. And today, a year later, here we are, and today it is Sergei Rachmaninov, the wonderful composer from Russia. Born in 1873, died in 1943. Not only a composer, but a conductor and an amazing pianist. If you have not listened to an old recording of Rachmaninov, you should. He had amazing fingers. He studied at the Moscow Conservatory. He conducted at the Bolshoi Opera. He composed concertos. He composed operas. In 1906, he went to Dresden, and then in 1909 to the United States, where he toured around the country and played with the Boston Symphony, with the New York Symphony, as it was called then, conducted by Mahler, and did 26 performances around the USA. He was a man, however, that his whole life, at various times, he had different kinds of illnesses, so life was always a struggle for him. In 1917, when the Russian Revolution happened, he moved to Scandinavia and then moved to the USA. The Steinway Piano Company took him on as their representative. And so they featured him, toured him. He also featured in his concert his own arrangement that he would end the concert with of the Star-Spangled Banner. RCA took him on, and so his recordings were with RCA. And after 1918 and the Revolution, he wrote some pieces, not a lot. He wrote that famous Rhapsody on the theme of Paganini. He performed benefit concerts to help people who had been injured during the war. In 1892, he did his famous Prelude in C-sharp minor, but we'll talk about that in a moment. He wrote several works for the Russian Church, the Liturgy of St. John Chrysostom in 1910, and then in 1915, the All-Night Vigil. It's a gorgeous piece, a bunch of separate movements which would have been done during an long evening service, so that there would have been a piece of music and then chanting, another piece of music. This went on for hours. And I did this work with a number of choirs together at our beautiful St. Paul Cathedral. That's a great place to do this because of its 8-second reverb, and you want that with this music. And what we did is featured choirs in various parts of the cathedral. So one piece happened up front, another in the back, at the side, and some of them with people singing all around. It was a thrilling experience. One of the movements is the beautiful Ave Maria, a very quiet, gorgeous piece that he marked the tempo peacefully. And you hear his Ave Maria. 2 years ago, the ensemble singers were in Mexico City on tour, and we went to that beautiful, huge cathedral of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and the big church which seats thousands, and near it is the old cathedral that they don't use as much. It had, during the earthquake, it became a little fragile. It's still used. And we went in there, and I asked the guard, would it be okay? And he said yes. And so the ensemble singers sang that Ave Maria to people who happened to be in the cathedral. A very moving experience, certainly for us, and I believe for the worshipers who were there. So the all-night vigil was one of the pieces we did, but I mentioned earlier the Prelude in C sharp minor. Well, this is a piece that all of us who play the piano at some point had to learn. I think I was probably about 10 or 12 when my teacher said that it was time to do the Prelude. So here is my very old copy. It has marks about where the pedal should be. It has marks about practice up to here, memorize up to there. Some marks are in ink. That was not me, but perhaps my teacher put that in at the time. And so it's a great piece. The thing about the piece that I think not everybody remembers is, you know, on the piano, you have 3 pedals. You have the right pedal, which is that damper that, you know, you hold, you take a chord, and as long as there's sound going, you hear it. Then you have the left pedal, the piano one, and on this one, if you looked inside the piano, the hammers all move over, so that instead of a hammer striking 3 strings, it only strikes 1. So it's softer. But then there's that middle, mysterious pedal. And that pedal, which you need for this piece, is the one where you play a note and then put that pedal down. And no matter if you use the right pedal, this middle one will only hold down that note that you had. So that, for instance, when you start the Prelude in C sharp minor, it's the C sharp when you go. So as long as you keep that going, you'll hear that pedal note of C sharp all the way through. Now, of course, this piece starts with that wonderful theme. Such a simple theme. I mean, this is, you know, and then, that's basically the theme. And it's how he develops that theme. I'm not going to play the whole piece for you, but you get an idea at the beginning of those notes and what he does with it. So the piece goes on in that part. Then in the middle is the part that gets faster and faster. It's marked agitated. You get, the theme is just the 4 notes. But you get etc. It moves on and on and on, bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally you get all of that. And then comes that theme from the beginning. Now this time, instead of being pianissimo, it is marked triple forte. And again, you need that middle pedal. And finally, at the very end, as it begins to taper down in sound, it's that constant low C sharp, so that you hear. And now comes the ending. Of course, the low note is going to be that C sharp. So a lesser composer might have just right away given you that C sharp minor chord. Rachmaninov doesn't want to go there right away. He wants to keep the suspense in you of getting to that chord. So he has a number of chords, all with C sharp in it, so that you have, first of all, this A major chord. There's the C sharp. Then the next one, which gives you A sharp in it, which is like a C sharp sixth chord. Then he gives you another, which is the A major, but with the lower seventh degree. Then he gives you the C sharp, and this time it's F sharp major with a seventh. And one more distant. He gives you an F sharp major and at the same time a D sharp major. And then finally, you feel that sense of release, and he gives you, and you get. Have a wonderful day. Did you think I couldn't analyze it? Is that what you want?
Very well done.
Oh, gee.